Hi, I'm Courtney O'Neill Allen, host of GovExec TV. Welcome to HPod, our video podcast series with HP Inc. It's episode 6, Innovation at the Edge. Today we're taking a look at innovation through the lens of HP Federal, which has been at the forefront of tech modernization. From tech solutions to AI tools, both government and industry partners are beneficiaries of HP's technology. Joining me here to share how HP continues to reinvent and make it matter through collaboration and partnership, as well as faster, more efficient, and advanced capabilities, are Todd Gustafson, President of HP Federal, and Nat Berry, Chief Operating Officer for HP Federal. Welcome, both of you.
That's a tough one for you, right? But you got it right.
Thank you, Todd.
Great to see you, Courtney.
Thank you. Great to
Thanks
see
for
you,
having
too.
us here.
Wonderful, Matt. So let's just dive right in. HP has been a long forefront enabling IT partner at the edge for most organizations. In today's increasingly contested and disconnected environments, how are you continuing to innovate and ensure that mission-critical personnel can operate with confidence even when connectivity is limited?
So, Courtney, I get to do what I love at HP. And when I think about the history of HP, it was two young men in Palo Alto, California. That was the birthplace of Silicon Valley, 1939, if we can think back that long. And they developed a product which was called the audio oscilloscope for Disney, making the movie Fantasia before our time, but we may have seen it with our children or friends.
Yes.
And that core of innovation at HP continues alive to this day, right? Our founders, Bill Hewlett and Dave Packard, they developed a culture in something called the HP Way in terms of how do we drive innovation across all of our product sets.
Yes.
And it's here today, and both of them, for that matter, were involved in the Army and the Department of Defense, so they have a rich background in and particularly in the defense environment. And so what we're here to talk to you about today is some of that innovation that's happening at the edge and how do we apply it.
That's a great backdrop, and I appreciate the insight. Sticking with you, Todd, for a second, I understand that compute workloads are moving more from cloud to the edge. How is HP meeting users at their needs for ever-changing capabilities?
That's a great question. And there is an evolving hybrid strategy in terms of how users take advantage of AI. And there'll be different workloads that'll apply. There'll be a set of workloads that will make a lot of sense to be able to go do in the cloud. Mm-hmm. And the users will help define what that looks like.
Okay.
And then there'll be a whole nother set of environments where AI at the edge will make a greater difference. And let me spend a minute just on AI in the edge, because that's where our solution best stacks up, if you will. And one of the things that users will want to do is be able to take advantage of two different things: cost and speed. And our remote boost technology, is a key enabler of that. And if you think about it at its simplest level, is government organizations are going to have literally thousands of machines. And the utilization rate of the thousands of machines vary. It might vary depending upon the time of day, the time of night. It might depend upon the workload that you want to do. But what Boost does at its core is it collapses all of that compute power into a single engine like the cloud, but it's happening at the edge, so you can do it faster in some cases. You can have more inferences in your approach, and you might be able to do it at a lower cost. So both of those environments in cloud computing and AI matter, and you'll want to do it on both. And those organizations that will thrive will determine the workloads that apply to each one of those situations.
That's great, and look forward to seeing more of that technology being discussed out in the public sector. Nat, as we talk about innovation, it comes from all corners, right? It's, you've been sharing about innovation at the edge. What examples can you share with us that's influenced HP's innovation roadmap?
Great. Thank you, Courtney. First, I'd like to pick up on something that Todd said about that transition of more compute to the edge.
Yes.
There's a couple of other elements I think are really important to discuss that I'm sure we'll unpack. One is security. So having something more localized at the edge
Yes.
means that that data is not traversing a network and is fundamentally more secure. The other one is there's a ton of data that is stranded at the edge that you can't even machine to machine data. It's more unlikely that that mass of data that's being generated will ever traverse back and forth. It's just not economical. So the more compute capability that we have at the edge, it complements what Todd talked about in this hybrid setup that we have. There's a lot of innovation going on both within our four walls, but to answer your question, I'd love to point out an example where we're partnering to bring really focused innovation right where it matters. And an example I'm thinking of is a partnership that we have with our HP Tech Ventures. We made an investment in a company called EdgeRunner AI. And so think about a use case, very defense focused, think air-gapped laptop with incredibly focused information, enriched information that's relevant for a defense operator. So the example would be, imagine it's a contested war zone, conflict zone. There's a forward operator, maybe a logistician, and they have to figure out, I've got this convoy, I have a mission, I've got to get all this equipment from point A to point B. How do I do it? And today they might ask 4 people around them and get 4 different answers. With EdgeRunner's solution, they can query like ChatGPT. They've got 30 billion tokens of defense-specific information loaded on that information, build-outs of all kinds of trucks, all the mechanics of it, and they can get very, very relevant, in-the-moment information to help guide their decision-making at the tactical edge. For me, that's an incredibly compelling use case, more importantly for our defense customers. And it really shows how AI is traversing this continuum from general AI models to more domain-specific and ultimately agentic. And that's something that we're investing in.
And it sounds like very exciting as well as important for, like you mentioned, those operators, especially from our defense community. So Matt, staying on the topic of AI and thinking about AI integration as well as remote performance in the federal space, how is HP positioning itself to drive continued innovation across public sector missions?
A very good question. So I'd actually like to pick up on what Todd just said. In the security domain, one of the most important elements in conversations that we're engaged in is zero trust. And that lens of how do we meet the mission requirement in a highly secure fashion where we're addressing what the department calls their 7 pillars of zero trust. And then it's not something that we're considering after we launch a product, but it's actually something that we're not even thinking of at the design stage. We're actually engaging our government customers and building them into our innovation process to make sure that what comes out on the other side is checking the box on all of those elements. But more important than checking the box is the outcome. How do we field test? How do we make sure that when our innovation is in the field, that it works, that it's meeting the moment?
That sounds really important especially for the warfighters, you know, whether you're a postal worker or someone who's actually on the battlefield. The environment is very remote and contested in multi-factor ways. So while we, I guess, finish this thought about AI, you know, what advice do either of you have to leaders who are looking to empower their staff amid growing concerns, right, that AI will impact our work life forever, indefinitely? What would you share with them?
I'm happy to jump in and start. From my lens, I think it's really important as leaders to start personally. If you want to model what an organization is going to do, if you're looking to lead the mark in terms of where we need to go, you have to get in the river and swim. So if it's as simple as using different AI tools yourself, so you have that level of fluency, all the interactions with your stakeholders, customers, partners, your employees, your IQ goes up naturally, and then you can help everyone else get up that hill.
At its simplest level, the federal government now is providing 2 great tools that we've just learned about just recently, which is ChatGPT for most users, as well as Microsoft Copilot. Those are really what I would say is entry-level aspects to be able to take advantage of it. That's number one. More importantly for me, when I think about our culture and I think about our government and our country, ethics is at the core of everything that we do. So we need to make sure that we put boundaries around how do we apply AI in an environment where it's done to do good things and not nefarious things. And so I think that level of integrity as our North Star is another key aspect that we need to consider.
Well, thank you, Todd and Matt, for joining us today and sharing all of your insights as well as experience through the journey of HP and all of the great work that you're doing. We look forward to having you back.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And that's a wrap for HPod Episode 6. Thanks again to Todd and Matt for taking us from printers to capabilities at the edge. To our listeners and viewers, thank you for tuning in. For GovExec TV, I'm Courtney O'Neill Allen. We'll see you next time on the HPod. To learn more about technology solutions for federal, state, and local government agencies, or to speak to a government expert, scan this QR code now.